Thank you everyone. Today I discuss about the resistance. First you have to know what is resistance. Resistance means the opposition of flow of current through the conductor. Generally, conductor have different types. One of them is the metallic conductor. When current flows through the metallic conductor, then actually this conduction of current established due to the flow of free electrons. Every metallic conductors have free electrons. Due to the flow of these free electrons, current flows through that conductor. When these free electrons flows through the conductor, then the conductor oppose the flow of these electrons, and this opposition is known as resistance. Here the first of all you have to know what is the metallic conductors. Metallic conductor. First of all, these conductors carry electricity in solid form, but exceptional is the mercury. It carry electricity in the liquid form. Number two, at the time of carrying electricity, it does not no chemical reaction takes place. No chemical reaction. Number three, these conductors when carry the current, then it obey the Ohm's law. That means obey Ohm's law. What is Ohm's law? The V is varies to I. And fourth, fourth condition is the free electrons is responsible to carry the electricity. That means there is the free electrons. These are the 4 points. If any conductor obeys these 4 points, then these are known as the metallic conductors. We read here we discuss about the resistance of these metallic conductors. First of all, resistance is the opposition of the flow of current. That means actually the opposition of flow of free electrons through it. This is the resistance. Now the resistance depends on many factors. One of them is the material of the conductor. Number two, it is the temperature of the conductor. Number three, length of the conductor, cross section of the conductor. These 4 are the main factors on which resistance depends on. Except these 4, there are the other factors are there, but these factors are not applicable in general form, in general conductors. That means the pressure. The resistance depends on pressure, but it is not in the application of general for the general metallic conductor. It is for the specific conductor. That means resistance of carbon depends on the pressure only. Whereas intensity of light, resistance also depends on the intensity of light. Selenium, resistance of the selenium depends on the intensity of light. So these are the factors on which the resistance depends on, or that means mainly the 4 factors on which the resistance depends on. What are the 4 factors? One is the material. Number 2, temperature. Number 3, length of the conductor. And number 4 is the cross section. These are the 4 factors on which the resistance of a metallic conductor depends on. And now the question is how the resistance depends on the material, temperature, length and the cross section of the conductor. First, say material. The conductor is made by, the conductors are made by in various substance. The resistance of the conductor depends on the material by which this conductor is made. Say there are 2 conductors. This is the first conductor and this is the second conductor. Both have same length, same cross section, the A, same temperature, but this conductor is made by copper and this made by aluminium. All of the length, cross section and temperature are equal for both the conductors, but they have different resistance. Why? Because they are made by the different substance. One is made by copper, another is made by aluminium. Copper wire have less resistance as compared to aluminium. Now the question is why? Because of the different concentration of the free electrons. Copper have high concentration of free electrons, whereas aluminium have less concentration of electrons. As copper has high concentration of electrons, that is why its resistance is low. Aluminium have low concentration of electrons, that is why its resistance is comparatively high. Now the second point. What is the second point? It is the temperature. That means how that resistance of the conductor depends on temperature. It was the second point, it is the temperature. If the temperature increases, then resistance of the metallic conductor also increases, but it is not directly proportional. Just temperature increases, resistance increases. Now question is why the temperature resistance increases with the increase of temperature? Because when the temperature increases, the speed of the free electrons increases. That means free electrons moves through the conductor in the high speed. Then the collisions of free electrons increases. Since the collisions increases, that means opposition increases. That is why resistance increases. That is why when the temperature increases, then the resistance increases. Temperature increases, so resistance are increases. Now the third point. What is the third point? Third point is the length of the conductor. The resistance of a conductor depends on the length of it. Say here the number 3, length of the conductor. Here the resistance of the conductor is directly proportional to the length of the conductor. If the length of the conductor is indicated by L, then R is directly proportional to L. Here the directly proportional. That means if L increases 2 times, then R also increases 2 times. That means F increase by 2 times, then R also increase by 2 times. If L decrease by 2 times, then R also decrease by 2 times. This is the directly proportional. Say here remember that when L resistance depends on L, then the cross section of the conductor and the temperature of the conductor remains constant. That means when temperature and the cross section of the conductor remains constant, then the resistance is directly proportional to L. Now the question is, why the resistance increases with length? Say this is the length of the conductor. When the free electrons moves, then the collision of free electrons increases if the length of the conductor is more, because it has covered long distance. When it covered the long distance, then the number of collisions of the free electrons increases. That means opposition increases. Collision increases means opposition increases. As the opposition increases, then the resistance increases. That is why if the length of the conductor increases, then the resistance of the conductor increases. Now the third point. What is the third point? The fourth point or last point. It is the cross section. Cross section. Resistance depends on cross section of the conductor. Cross section of the conductor, the resistance of the conductor is inversely proportional to the cross section of the conductor. Inversely proportional. That means if the cross section increases, resistance decreases. Here if the cross section is capital A increases, then R decreases. If A increases by 2 times, then R decreases by 2 times. R decreases by 2 times means the R becomes half. R becomes half if the A, that means cross section, increases by 2 times. Here the mathematical representation of it, the resistance R is directly proportional, that means it is the proportional to 1 by A. 1 by A means it is the inversely proportional. Now take one example. Say 2 conductor. This is a conductor. This is a conductor, and it is the another conductor. Both have the same length L. Here the cross section, this is a cross section and it is a cross section of it. Both are made by same substance, it is made by copper and it is also made by copper. But the cross section is different. Here the cross section is more. As the cross section is more, then the resistance is less. Here the cross section is less. That is why here the R is more. Here the cross section is greater. That means the wire is or conductor is thicker. So thick conductor have less resistance. It is a thin conductor. Thin conductor have more resistance. Now the question is why the resistance of the thin conductor is less. As it is a thin, when the free electrons moves through them, then the probability of collisions of the free electrons is more. If the electrons moves through that thick conductor, then the space is more, so the collisions will be less. The chance of collisions will be less. As the chance of collision is less, that is why opposition is less, that is R is less. Here the chance of collision is more, that means more times of collision takes place when the free electrons moves through that conductor. As the collision increases, then the opposition increases and that is why R is more. So these are the four main factors on which the resistance of the metallic conductor depends on. For the next video, we discuss about the resistivity of the conductor. Thank you.